Hello, my name is Dante Renee from the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1985's Evil Town. 1985's Evil Town. This is the back of the Blu-ray. Here are some shots from the film right here as well. And Evil Town is put out, it's number 2 of Vinegar Syndrome Archive side series. I never heard of this film before at all. Isn't that not amazing cover art, by the way? And it even comes with a slipcase and a poster. But never heard of this film, and look at this artwork, poster art here. What I did, a film that I've looked at on this YouTube page is Evils of the Night, which has connections to this film. And I love Evils of the Night, and there are some connections here. One of those connections would be that one of the directors of this film is the director of Evils of the Night, Marty Rustam, who's also a producer of Savage Harbor, and which I've looked at on this YouTube page, which is the Vinegar Syndrome Archive 1, and also my gosh, he's a producer on Tobe Hooper's Eaten Alive and so on and so forth. Now, the interesting thing, one of the interesting things about Evil Town is the fact that there are listed to be multiple directors, even an etc., it looks like, at the end. So we have Marty Rustam, Larry Spiegel, Curtis Hanson, and more. Very, very interesting. This film has a copyright of 1985, but the interesting thing is that it says it was a troubled production from its mid-70s beginnings. It's interesting because as I was watching this film, I said to myself, this does not seem like a 1985 film at all. It had very strong 70s vibes to it. Now, there might have been, well, there were definitely elements of 80s vibes. Some characters had elements of 80s vibes. But then there was a group of characters that were definitely 70s vibes. So the fact that this film was started and probably was being worked on in piecemeal, I guess, over the course of many years, maybe almost a decade, is incredible. And I have to tell you, it says it was a troubled production, but I don't see the trouble. I don't see the possible stress and tension and chaos behind the scenes of the post-production or even the actual filming of the movie. So I'm getting these 80s and 70s vibes, but for some odd reason, it moves and all works together seamlessly without me thinking, oh, this movie was obviously piecemealed together over the course of, 10 or so years. Not at all. It exists together perfectly to me. Evil Town is a very, very unique film. And yes, the poster art, these characters are actually in the film. Well, he definitely is. I'm trying to think who she is. Probably. We had some brunettes in here. Evil Town, such a unique film, I have to tell you. One of the special features is its connections to Evils of the Night. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I definitely see some connections to Evils of the Night, but this movie exists in its own world, without a doubt. Wow. We have approximately 80-minute tense, dark, over the course of one night, sinister, violent, sleazy, and unique in the themes and the storylines. Did you know that when you turn 40 years of age, that the body starts to degenerate? Did you know that there was a time in human existence when people thought that their kidney transplants? What? Oh my gosh, that's the stuff of movies. That's the stuff of lore. You know, did you know that there are casualties with every medical advancement? I mean, they have to kill some people to learn about the future of a disease or of a process or a procedure. These are some themes that are explored in here. This is a movie that has a heavy dose of sleaze and a heavy dose of violence, not gore, violence, and a darkness and a disturbing nature to the film. We have people getting drugged. We have sexual violence. We have ageism in the movie. Yes. We have the elements of the elderly and youth. And those two worlds and how they connect or interact. You know, when people talk about sleaze, Evil Town has a dose of this sleaze, primarily in the first portion of the film. And when people try to define sleaze, you can see it in Evil Town in the fact that a girl who was topless stays topless for a portion of the film while she's being tortured, raped, running around. Her shirt stays open and her big boobs are flopping and moving everywhere, and her boobs look great, by the way. There's a dose of sleaze for you right there, whereas in another movie, you know, the girl would get covered up and then proceed on with the rest of the film. Not so here, which is great. So Evil Town has that. When we look at the score for the movie and the music for the film, there's a piece of music in here that I believe might be in Evils of the Night. I'm not exactly sure. And it's a great piece of music. I love it. I think it is. Also, the font in the film for Evil Town looks to be the same font of Evils of the Night in that film. Now, we have really dark 80s synth vibes in here. We also have some synth vibes with saxophone. What the hell is that? I've never heard anything really quite like that before. We also have some 70s guitar rock vibes. We also have some dramatic, moody, dark piano synth pieces. We have 80s pop music. We have 80s slow ballad music. You can get the perspective of the 70s and the 80s throughout this film. You can see it, you can experience it, you can hear it just in the music for the film. But a heavy dose of synth, definitely. 80s synth, taking all the moodscapes. I mean, I would say the weird, dark, late at night, and dramatic. It's all in there. I also believe, you know, I love the settings of this movie. I love the campground and how kind of beautifully natural and isolated it is. I love the hospital, which seems to be the same hospital as Evils of the Night. I love this type of beach area as well. This is a film of mystery and secrets overtaking an entire town, as the title of the film says, Evil Town. This is a film where if you know, like horror films, you like the horror genre, you know there's a certain specific type of subgenre in horror where there is a community of people with secrets within that community, with intent within that community, and there are vulnerable people that are trying to figure out exactly what is going on and what world they are in. We have some twists and turns in this film. We have some Man, some donuts with drugs in them. I have to tell you, I love the characters in this film. Also, if you like feet, if you have a foot fetish, there's a great character in this film who does a lot with her feet, and has some great stories to share and shows her feet a lot. This character right here, really awesome guy, fascinating character, and I don't know. Sometimes when you hear explanations for things in a film, like at the end of a giallo film, you kind of are like, oh man, it's still it's cool, but you're getting everything explained, and maybe sometimes it's very talky. There's a section of the film with this guy talking and kind of giving expositions, and I have to tell you, it was freaking fascinating. I loved the way his face looked. I loved the way he spoke. The way he spoke was so freaking weird. And the lead, who becomes the lead young person in this film, I believe he plays the S&M cop in Moving Violations, which came from the 80s. So obviously, he did not look like this in Moving Violations. So his portion must have been filmed in the 70s. But Moving Violations is a film that I looked at on this YouTube page. You can check that out with Bill Murray's brother, a brother you don't typically see. But very, very interesting. He's a powerful actor in here. He's awesome. Everybody's great. The girls are sexually attractive, all different body types, skimpy clothes, and true night, sinister, disturbing, dark intent and sexuality. This is 1985's 82-minute Evil Town right here. Wow. Never heard of this movie before. Absolutely love this movie. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like Evil Town from 1985, or is it from 1975 as well? Wow. I have to tell you too, one last thing, if you're still here. I've heard of a lot of troubled productions before in cinematic history. This is supposedly was a nightmare in the production of it. I find no evidence of that whatsoever, and great cinematography in here as well. So I find no evidence of that whatsoever. I find absolute consistency, even in the inconsistency, which seems to be consistent to the world of the 82-minute film. Whatever. Thank you so much, and please feel free to follow me on my Vimeo page, where I make my own films at vimeo.com/poopy diarrhea. That's POOPY diarrhea, and you can follow me there. Thank you so much, and good night.